Heavy metal has always thrived in the margins, born from rebellion, sharpened by distortion, and sustained by a global legion of fans who worship riffs louder than reason. Yet for every Metallica or Maiden, there's a masterpiece buried in obscurity. Albums that shred with brilliance but never broke through the noise. This is a tribute to those unsung records, undeniable in their power, overlooked by the masses. Whether lost to bad timing, label neglect, or simply too weird for mainstream metalheads, these albums deserve resurrection. We'll dive into the forgotten corners of thrash, doom, black, and avant-garde metal to spotlight the records that should have been legends, but instead became cult whispers. This is Overlooked and Undeniable.
Sounds good.
Overlooked and Undeniable. Armored Saint's Delerious Nomad as a forgotten masterpiece. In the pantheon of 1980s heavy metal, certain albums are canonized, while others, equally deserving, languish in the shadows. Delerious Nomad, the 1985 sophomore release from Los Angeles' Armored Saint, is one such criminally overlooked gem. Released during a time when glam metal was dominating MTV and thrash was sharpening its blades in the underground, Delerious Nomad didn't fit neatly into either camp. It was too gritty for the Hairspray crowd, too melodic for the speed freaks. But therein lies its brilliance, a record that threads the needle between power, precision, and pathos, delivered with a streetwise swagger and a vocalist who could go toe-to-toe with the genre's best. Nearly 4 decades later, Delerious Nomad stands not just as a solid metal album, but as a masterclass in songwriting, tone, and emotional weight. Produced by Max Norman, Delerious Nomad is a sonic leap forward from the band's debut. The guitars are chunkier, the rhythms tighter, and John Bush's vocals, already formidable, are now a force of nature. The album doesn't rely on gimmicks or flash. Instead, it builds its power from conviction. Every riff feels earned, every lyric lived in. There's a sense of urgency throughout, as if the band knew they were crafting something special, even if the world wasn't quite ready to hear it. Cover to cover, this album is nearly flawless. Highlighting the brilliance of this album are 3 tracks. The opening track. This song captures Armored Saint's signature blend of melodic aggression and lyrical introspection. The lyrics speak to a struggle for autonomy and clarity in a world clouded by deceit and compromise. Lines like "From now on, I call the shots," "Long before I die" reflect a turning point, where the narrator refuses to be manipulated and instead asserts control over their destiny. Musically, it's a tight, punchy track with driving riffs and a soaring chorus that channels urgency and conviction. The song's brevity, just under 3 minutes, adds to its impact, delivering its message with no wasted motion. As an opener, it sets the tone for the rest of the album, bold, unrelenting, and unapologetically alive. Nervous Man, Anxiety is Art. If Delerious Nomad is the album's battle cry, Nervous Man is its psychological center. This track is a masterstroke of tension and release. The opening riff is twitchy and angular, mirroring the song's themes of paranoia and inner turmoil. Bush's vocal performance here is nothing short of theatrical. He doesn't just sing about anxiety, he embodies it. The chorus explodes with a cathartic urgency, as if the song itself is trying to outrun its own panic. It's rare for a metal track to so vividly capture the sensation of mental unraveling without descending into melodrama. Nervous Man walks that tightrope with grace and grit.
So let it be fair. Aftermath, shades of hair.
Aftermath, Elegy in Steel. Then there's Aftermath, the album's emotional apex. Slower and more contemplative than the rest of the record, it showcases Armored Saint's range and maturity. The song unfolds like a post-battle reflection, haunted, heavy, and heartbreakingly human. The guitar work is mournful without being maudlin, and Bush delivers one of his most nuanced performances, channeling sorrow, regret, and resilience in equal measure. Aftermath proves that heaviness isn't just about speed or volume, it's about emotional weight. In a genre often obsessed with power, this track dares to be vulnerable, and in doing so, becomes one of the band's most powerful statements. So why did Delerious Nomad slip through the cracks? Timing, mostly. Released in a crowded year that saw landmark albums from Slayer, Anthrax, and Dio, Armored Saint's nuanced approach may have seemed out of step with the prevailing trends. They weren't cartoonish enough for glam, nor brutal enough for thrash. But that's exactly what makes Delerious Nomad so enduring. It occupies its own space, uncompromising, emotionally rich, and musically sophisticated. In hindsight, the album feels prophetic. Its blend of melody and muscle would later become the blueprint for countless bands in the 1990s and beyond. And John Bush? He'd go on to front Anthrax, bringing that same emotional depth to a wider audience. But Delerious Nomad remains his most personal and potent work, a snapshot of a band at their creative peak, unburdened by expectations and driven by pure artistic fire. Delerious Nomad isn't just an underrated album. It's a forgotten cornerstone of American heavy metal. It deserves to be spoken of in the same breath as The Last in Line, Among the Living, or Master of Puppets. Its songs are crafted with care, performed with passion, and anchored by a voice that bleeds authenticity. For those willing to dig beneath the surface of metal's glittering history, Delerious Nomad offers a treasure trove of power, pathos, and pure sonic gold. It's time we gave it the recognition it has always deserved. Now do as your mistress commands and buy this album.